Hi, it's Joe at Red's Fly Shop. We're going to talk about comfortable layering systems for cold weather fishing. The only way you cannot have fun fishing is if you're uncomfortable, and that's easy to do when you're cold. If you do it wrong, I'm going to take you through a layering system that should keep you dry, comfortable, and fishing all day long. So first thing to understand about layering systems is you can't get sweaty. If you get a layer of sweat against your skin, you're gonna get cold no matter what, so don't overdo it and make sure all of your layers are very breathable. Let's start at your feet. Down below, I like the Simms OTC thermal sock. The thermal is the thicker one. Get the over the calf ones to keep all of that calf muscle on your calves nice and insulated and nice and warm, because you're probably going to be standing in the cold water, which just robs your heat. So the over the calf socks from Simms are really nice. I like just a single pair of socks. If I have two, it just seems to squeeze the blood out of my feet and it's too tight. Next, wear some type of tight fitting base layer. An Under Armour type is good. We have one from Simms. This is just a real thin synthetic or merino wool blend. Wear a tight fitting base layer. Underneath some fleece pants. I like these Redington IO fleece pants. They're really simple. I like the foot stirrup on there so that when I'm hiking around, my pants don't ride up above my shins and they stay put where they're supposed to. But they're a fairly high loft fleece, and that seems to be a really comfortable combination for me to wear a tight fitting base layer in those particular pants right there. Up top, I like a very thin synthetic type material. I'm not real picky about this. You can go merino wool, you can go synthetic, just don't go cotton. I'm often wearing one of these Simms Solar Flex hoodies because I like that really thin hood at times to even put underneath my hat to keep it really tight to my ears, maybe when I don't need full stocking cap. And it's also slick, so it slides under the other layers as well. I don't like the real tight fitting Under Armour type heat gear shirts. Makes my boobs look big if the shirt doesn't fit real good. So I like the looser fitting one right there. On top of that, I like some type of synthetic hoodie. Get a Simms one. It's got great moisture properties and it's got a great four-way stretch to it. But a lot of the Simms specific fishing gear, it's designed to wick water really well. So if your sleeve winds up in the water reaching down to get a fish, net a fish, maybe you slip and catch yourself on a shallow rock or something like that, these sleeves wick really well and don't soak up water. Just don't let it be cotton, but that's going to be my mid layer right there. And then that hood again comes in really comfortably, so I can double up that synthetic hood on each of those. If I've got a little bit of breeze hitting the back of my neck, that hood's a lifesaver. On top of that, I like some type of thin layering vest, whether it's a Simms or North Face, Arc'teryx. I don't really care what you wear, but you want to have an insulating vest that's not necessarily a puffy style vest, because this is going to get squeezed and compressed under your top layer. So that's a thinner insulating vest that doesn't necessarily need to be puffed to provide insulation. It's meant as a layering piece to keep the core of your body extra warm. If the core of your body stays warm, chances are your hands are warm and you're going to be way happier. You're going to be able to tie flies and just straight up fish better. So I wear that vest on top of the hoodie, and then finally, as long as it's not raining, I'm just wearing some type of insulated puffy jacket like this. And the reason I much prefer to not wear a wading jacket when it's really, really cold out, because that affects your breathability. There's nothing worse than hiking down to the river, getting a real nice layer of sweat on yourself before you stand in the river for about 3 hours. You have to be able to unzip your jacket and let that heat out and let it dissipate. And the puffy style jackets are extremely breathable in comparison to like a Gore-Tex shell, which is not gonna breathe nearly as well. So I like to wear that as an exterior layer, and I will typically wear that over the top on my waders so that it insulates good, it breathes good, and I don't lose that loft value. That airspace is an absolute killer for thermal conductivity. So the more airspace we can get in that synthetic material, the more it's going to stop heat conductivity either from cold air or cold water. But that insulated jacket's going to be my exterior layer unless it's raining or really, really windy, in which case I might wear a Gore-Tex shell over the top. But The puffies with the Primaloft insulation have great moisture properties. They get a little wet, they still maintain their loft and warmth, unlike down, which feathers just stick together and kill that insulation. So that stays breathable, helps you stay sweat free when you're hiking up and down the river or rowing, and sweat free is really the key. If you layer up too much, you're gonna sweat and you're gonna get cold. So you have to stay light and tight and make sure that you don't overheat. If you do get a little bit cold, a couple of pro tips for you. Just go for a little walk up to the bank, walk up and down the river, just go walk for 2 or 3 minutes. You'll be amazed what that'll do even for your hands and your overall body warmth. And then keep something to snack on really close at hand so you don't have to hike back to the truck or make a big to-do about getting something to eat, but that just a little bit of food will generally spur your metabolism and warm you up pretty quick. As far as hats go, I'm a beanie over stocking cap guy. You have to have a bill on your hat in order to maintain shade over your eyes. Even in the winter, it's really important to be able to see down into the water. So I want a hat with a fairly dark underbill, and I'll throw my beanie or my stocking cap right over the top of my ball cap, and then that's a really quick way to shed heat too. If you're doing a little walk and starting to overheat, you can get rid of that hat, and that makes a really good way to layer and unlayer without making a big to-do about having to take jackets on and off. And also, one more thing about wearing your puffy jacket over the top of your waders, it makes going to the bathroom a lot easier and also dissipating heat a lot quicker too when you can just unzip your whole jacket right on the outside of your waders like that. Finally, gloves. There is no perfect system for gloves. In front of me here, I've literally got like 15 different styles of gloves. You will find the ones that you really like for yourself. But for me, I like a kind of a completely fingerless style for just most of my fishing. If it's just a little bit cold out, that keeps the bones and the backs of my hands insulated. There's a micro grid fleece under neoprene right there. Really good windbreaker for the backs of your hands. You lose most of your heat through the backs of your hands and your wrists. Those keep your fingers free for great dexterity. They're not gonna be the warmest gloves necessarily. A real classic style are just like the Sims half finger wool gloves. They have a silicone palm on them so you can still grip the rod good, but wool is king when it comes to getting a little bit wet and still maintaining warmth. Pretty classic glove. These are a slight blend, so they do have some nice Lycra type properties in them, and they tend to fit really good and consistent. But you should bring a couple of sets of gloves if you're gonna get serious about winter fishing, stay comfortable and stay out there fishing. The last is you need some type of bomb-proof glove, like some type of fold-over mitt like this, so that when you really begin to get cold, you really begin to freeze up, you can immediately get all digits covered, still be able to maybe run the winch on your boat, net a fish, warm up a little bit. You could even fish with the complete mitten on there to a small degree, maybe if you're spay fishing or not doing where there's a lot of technical line handling. Once you lose feeling in your fingers, you're not having any fun anymore, so be prepared on the glove end of things. So that's just a basic rundown on wintertime fishing. Other tips for winter fishing is focus your fishing day to be a little shorter than normal and focus it on the warmest part of the day so that you can fish well. Fishing near your vehicle is also a great idea. There's no shame in going back to the rig, warming up a little bit, driving to the next spot. Make sure you're having a great time out there so that you stick with the cold weather fishing long enough and do it frequently enough to actually get good at it.